Check, check, check. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? How y'all feeling today? Let me know if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, just off the fly, off the rip, I was bored. I have nothing to do on this Saturday. So I said, let me hop on here and talk to the people, see what the people talking about today. Gonna open up the floor and just get some good conversations going with y'all. There's a lot going on. There's a lot we can discuss. This is an impromptu show. Welcome to the Stella Maris Podcast with your girl, Sha Blyss, a.k.a. MahMah Tea. Listen, make sure y'all go ahead and pick up some of that Blue Lotus Wellness Blends at sacredtea.net. I got to be careful because, you know, they'll say I'm promoting a product and then they'll shadow ban and all that kind of shit. You know how I do. TikTok's on some... Matter of fact, I'm frozen already. They might have done it. I might have triggered them. So speaking of TikTok, do we have like a week left here on this platform? How much longer do we have? Are they still talking ban? Is it still going to be like we're going to wake up and this is going to be gone? Like, does anybody know? Does anybody know what's going to happen with this? Thank you. Thank you, saying cute. Thank you. I try to keep myself nice and groomed. They won't ban it. You don't think so, Honey Badger? I don't even care no more. Honestly, they're playing too many games on this platform. I don't even see all the people that I used to see. All I see is ads, ads, ads. Oh, thank you for the order. Appreciate that. I don't see the content. I don't see the content creators that I used to follow anymore. So I moved my platform over to YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to me. The link is in bio. So I want to touch on a few things. I want to touch on the podcast that I have coming up for this. Well, the new year is really in April 1st. We know that. But for argument's sake, we're going to say for the new year, the podcast, the Stella Maris Podcast with your girl, Sha Blyss, a.k.a. MahMah Tea. I'll be the host of that podcast. And this is going to be a platform mainly for women. No, I'm not excluding men. Men are more than welcome. But we have a story. And our story needs to be told. And it's not a story that is a popular one. Stories that have been hidden. Stories that have been erased. Stories that have been suppressed. And it's time we tell them. There's a lot of women that are coming into their divinity, their consciousness. They're remembering who they are. They are tapping into that ancient memory. So I'm getting a lineup together of some sisters I'm going to have on. I already locked one sister down. I don't want to say her name yet. Just look out for the flyer. Our first show will be next Friday, 8 p.m. And I'm going to be tapping into all different aspects of spirituality. And we're going to be tapping into the right hand and the left hand path. Shout out to Bobby Hemmett talking about the left hand path. Many of us have been afraid of tapping into the other side of us. And there's a lot of controversy in regards to that. And I want to open up the floor and I want to have an intelligent discussion from a female's perspective on spirituality, divinity. And a lot of these sisters have walked away from traditional religions. This platform will be utilized for that. And we're going to be talking about things, especially women leaving traditional religions, like the big three. And once they left those religions, they tapped into their divine spirituality and began to flourish in a way. Tracy said we are spiritual portals. Hold on, let me go to thing 5. Spiritual portal, bring in souls from the spiritual realm to Mother Earth. Shout out to that. No, you're absolutely right. We need to talk about a lot of stuff, and there's not. I don't think there's enough platforms for women like me that can have a safe space to express themselves, that divine feminine, that goddess energy, that unapologetic goddess energy. You know what I'm talking about? Without someone trying to make them feel like, you know, they don't exist or they're less than, and this is all mythology and boop boop boo and wop 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 and wing wing wing. Nah, we tapping into this shit. You know what I'm saying? We going all the way in with that. You know what I'm talking about? We're going to be talking about that energy. But anyway, I'm going to bring some people on, see what y'all talking about one at a time. You know, I'm not trying to, I don't like chaos. The house rules, just be respectful. Let someone finish their conversation. And if I do bring in more than one person, make sure you mute your mic when you come in. Don't be having the background, the TV, people arguing, fighting over food and this and that, you know, all that, you know what I'm saying? We're not doing that up in here. I have a little decorum about yourself now. Come on now. Anyway, so let's talk about this mist, this fog. What y'all think it is? Do you think it's man-made? Do you think it's nature-made? Do you think it's extraterrestrial-made? What do you think about it? What do you think is going? This shit is flying. Thank you, Ro. Thank you. What y'all think it is? KQW33N. Unmute your microphone, sister. I see you had it open for a little bit. What do you think about?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
How are you? How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. First and foremost, peace, and love and light, Mrs. T. It's been a pleasure seeing your videos.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. So just to touch bases on exactly the question you asked, I think what's been happening overall in a whole is everything that of course, like we know, everything that we know, that we feel we've understood throughout history, of course, is a lie. And a lot of people look at the lie as, oh, well, it's his story, and, you know, the concept of what they taught us to be the story that they told. But I want to say that first and foremost, and I'm going to get to your question. No, first and foremost, it's not about the history of the story they told. It's about what we already know, and trying to, I would say, continue to manipulate the mind in regards to what we know is the truth. Right. And to continue to put these things in front of us, you know, and of course with the nature of fear, you know, and also getting us ready for what we already know, because they can't hide these things anymore. We already know what we know, and they can continue to try to paint the picture, but it's not going to be something that we're going to see as our truth, because those who know, we know. You know, so
elaborate on that a little bit. Let's tap in.
Okay, so we can tap in. So naturally, we know, first and foremost, that there has been things that have been put into place. A lot of people think that, oh God, the truth is coming out, and you know, what we thought was the truth is not the truth. It's all a lie. It's been all a lie. That's what they have to realize. Okay. So right. The awakening has already been, you know, in the works. It's just, you believe what you want to believe instead of believing what you need to believe. And when you do your research, which is very important, it allows you to break down the information from all areas. Like you say, getting out of the box, you can see the walls that has been put up. So this has been an agenda that has been in the works for centuries. It wasn't just 2024, you know, Y2K, 2000, you know, the Great Depression and all of that crap. You know, this has been something that has been in the works for a very long time. And it has allowed them to be able to manipulate the mind to where now you have these things that are coming out, and everybody is like, oh, did you hear about you know, they put on the news, the earth is flat. Oh, did you hear about under the ocean? You know, it's aliens. And, you know, we already knew that. they were trying so hard to convince us that we needed to look up into space as
Yeah.
if it existed, you
Right.
know,
Right.
so that we wouldn't look down
Mm.
into reality.
Okay, now that's
You know,
true.
so yes, ma'am, and it has caused a lot of people, like I said, when you know, you know. So it has caused a lot of people to, not only those who thought they were aware, which we call the awakened ones, to feel as if, okay, well, hey, I was right, and you know, and I've been trying to tell y'all for a long time. Hey, if you allow, let's just say United States first and foremost, and it's not just United States. A lot of people just keep saying USA. No, it's all in this realm. It's not just the USA. Okay, every one of us, every color on this planet, in this realm, I would say, because I don't say the planet. Every color in this realm has been manipulated for an agenda. Okay, and because they need us to believe that we need someone to tell us what to do. We need someone to tell us how to blink, what to see, what to breathe, how to eat. And when you allow someone to do that, that's all you know. So over generations, this has been something that has been implemented in our mind, to where if you wake up in the morning and you see something floating in the sky, you're like, oh, hey, they told us what that was. You know, they told us to expect UFOs, you know, and expect people with weird faces, and it's called this type of, you know, no, it's because there are things that you can no longer mask because of the vibration and energy of the collective and the frequencies growing, and us coming together and banding together as a whole, for them to know and understand that we're no longer standing for the lie, and we know what we know, and you have no choice but to come out. So also to talk about the portals. So I heard you earlier. I think this one I kind of tuned in. You were talking about that guy. You know, we all know who we're talking about, and those folks opening up portals. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
opening,
That guy with them
yeah,
keys
with the keys.
that he
Yeah, yeah,
stole.
yeah. That guy.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So he, you know, supposedly, you know, he's opening up fees, and first and foremost, you have to understand, if they're telling you something, please do not think that they're just being honest and they just want to all of a sudden be upstanding spouse in this abusive relationship that we have going on. So
Right.
they're
Right.
they're not telling us these things because it's information that they want us to know. They're telling these things because they don't have a choice, and understand that these already have been things that have been happening. It's just these are some things that you cannot hide. They already been opening and closing these portals left and right. So don't think that these little 5 portals that they have supposedly, quote unquote, have opened, whenever they open them, are the first ones, and they're not the last. So if we're gonna
So
keep
what do you
allowing,
think the whole thing is about then? What do you think this whole point, the whole point of them doing that and making the announcement of it, and what do you think that's the the agenda behind that?
well, I think the agenda mostly behind them making these announcements and supposedly bringing all this information to the forefront is to allow the people to think that they have power. Allow people to think that, you know, they're on our side, and they want us to know what's going on, and they want to be honest, and they want us to think that we're all on the same page. We're not. Because even when they give you a piece of information, there's a whole lot more that they haven't given you.
Right. Right.
Even when they expose certain things, there's a whole lot more to that one story that they haven't given, when there's more information to be had.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
and
So
yes,
I'm gonna bring on the sister JDK. I see you in the chat. You saying some
yes, ma'am.
things. So come on in, Miss JDK. Um, what's
How
your
you doing?
take on how you doing? What's happening? Talk to me. What's your take on these doors, these portals, these mists, this fog? Are they related? Are they not? Like,
Well,
what's
water
your
is always related.
say that again?
Water is always related. I think water is always related.
Okay.
Every time there's water involved, there's always something going on that has to do with the Great Mother.
Ooh.
If we're gonna be real about it,
Well, let's be real
and then
about
everything else is, yeah, and everything else is a psyop. Everything else is a psyop. From everything that's happening in Las Vegas, New Orleans, to the drones
Oh
coming
yeah,
out of the
that
water.
sound
We
like a
always knew
straight
that.
up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we always knew that was a psyop. We all know it's a psyop. We know they're trying to play games. The lucky thing is we now have social media that can tell us in real time. They're trying to tell the same lies they've been telling for the last 100 years, but they can't get it past us anymore. It's like a cheating boyfriend. You can only tell me so many times you was down at the club and you
Mm-hmm.
you with your boys. But
Right.
it's funny how you only got a receipt for two and six of y'all went out.
Oh
Just saying.
shit. Yeah, that's how it go. That's right.
It
Absolutely.
do, it do. They've been lying from the jump, just like the fact that this is our land and they're just here illegally.
So what do you
If
think?
you're indigenous,
What do you think we're standing at right now? So
we're standing in the age of Aquarius. You already know what it is. The
so
truth.
okay, now wait a minute now. I have my reservations about that too, because the thing about this about I don't think we're there yet. I think we're almost Miss can you mute your mic, Queen? I'm hearing like this like page flipping in the back. Some okay. So
I, mhm.
here's the thing.
I always go with the when the moon is in the seventh house and
The
the
moon is always in the seventh house. So
yeah.
and every so let me finish my point. What I'm saying about
Yes,
this
ma'am.
thing about Aquarius. We're almost there. I think we're like the 29th degree or whatever this is. They're saying we're in the age of Pisces. The thing about Pisces, we're seeing Pisces in full force right now because Pisces does rule deception. It does rule confusion.
Deception and delusion.
And it also
Mm-hmm.
rules fog and
Yes,
mist,
yes,
right?
water.
Right? Yeah,
Yes,
because it's a water sign, right? But it's the mist of the water. It's also ocean water, fish, things of that nature. But Neptune is the planet that rules um,
yes. Belief
Pisces,
and deception
right?
and
The illusions, deception.
disillusion.
So we're seeing a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that. Now, at the same time, we're seeing Saturn about to get really close to Neptune in the sky, right? It's making the
Right.
transit. Now, Saturn in astrology rules time as well, right?
Yes.
And karma, amongst other things.
Justice.
Now, and it's in Western astrology, it's in the sign of Pisces, right?
Hmm. Yes.
And it's interesting, right? So we're in the age of Pisces in the last days
Yes, ma'am.
of Pisces. Pisces is the last sign,
The 12th house.
12th house, last sign of the zodiac, right? The ones that we
Yes.
know,
I'm an
or that we
Aquarius.
following, right? And now we got Saturn, the planet of time, transiting the last sign of the zodiac
Yes, ma'am.
before
Yes,
we.
ma'am.
Now here's the thing, right? Now we're gonna be moving backwards, right? So this is what always puzzled me. Why are we going into the age of Aquarius and not the age of Aries,
Yeah, that was always my confusion.
right?
But that was it's so many things. It's always trying to connect the dots so we can get up out of here.
But do we got to be the one to leave though? So that's a scene. Now, thank you for opening that
Oh,
door. Thank you thank you for
okay.
opening that door. Right? Why we got
All right, mama.
ain't this our shit? Like, but
Yeah.
somebody else came here and did this. Why we got to be the one to leave? We didn't cause
I always
havoc
thought
and
about
destruction and all kind of craziness. We didn't kidnap the how can I say? So let's talk about the Pope for a second, right?
yes, ma'am.
Now, a lot of people don't know. Maybe you know. I'm sure you know when you was talking about the Great Mother. Well, some of her priestesses were called the Sibyls, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the Sibyls had temples all throughout the world, the ancient world, just like they got churches now. We had temples,
Right.
and one of the main temples was the Vatican,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
now they've been invaded after the wars and the Crusades and all of these things that were happening that all through Europe, because their crest and their motifs and everything is still on some of the ancient buildings, old buildings that are there. Because
Yes, ma'am.
before the people who are ruling now was the Moors, right?
Correct.
And all of
Correct.
this, right? So now with the Moors is when they got their knowledge and stuff, you got their mothers. Their mothers was one of the oracles. So
Correct.
bottom line is they had the Vatican. There's a book called The Sibyls written by Mama Zobe, The Theft of the African Prophetess by the Roman Catholic Church. So
Okay.
strongly
I'll look that into
recommend,
that.
people
Yes,
go
ma'am.
out there and grab that book, because a lot of things that we are seeing are being regurgitated back to us in a perverted way. So
Yes.
when we say about we need to get up on out of here and this and that and the other, it's like,
Well, I got that from Bobby Hemmett.
yeah,
I studied Bobby for a long time.
right. And at the
And
same
Bobby says
time,
we trapped.
we are, well, I like this where this going now. Okay, right? They say we trapped. I'm beginning to think. You heard the Yakub story. You familiar with
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Yakub story, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody went tinkering with some shit and created
Yes,
some
ma'am.
things, and the reason why they say, oh, you want to go ahead and do this and that, now you got to stay in there with them until
Yes.
this 6,000 year period that they keep
Yes.
saying, right? So it's like, and I'm always asking myself, all the people that are on the planet now, were we here from then? Like, are we back here to deal with this changing of the guards, this last age, or this lift up of this dome, right?
Yes.
To release. I was talking to a sister. Man, I don't even want to give too much of this conversation because it's going to be on this podcast. But
Man,
these
it's gonna be.
beings,
I'm telling you, like, Bobby said that we are the old gods trapped in these bodies, and we shouldn't be here. The new gods
damn,
put us here. Yeah, we supposed to be out in the ether. We are our ancestors. We live through our
Ashe,
bloodline.
Ashe, yes, ma'am.
So we continue this
So what the hell?
because we
We must
continue.
have did something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find out because it's like, if what do we have to undo, Lord? Because this is ridiculous.
Listen, these are the things, like, because if we are the sleeping giants, right? That
Right.
means we're under some kind of spell, amnesia. We forgot. We did
We
something,
forgot.
right? Because there's all these
Yeah.
artifacts of Atlantis and all of these different things that existed,
Mm-hmm.
and
Cardia.
you see our footprints everywhere on this planet, right? Like who are our ancestors everywhere. Women that are millions of years old,
Yes.
their remains everywhere, right? You're starting to find them.
Everywhere.
And so it's like, what we got to get to what the hell happened. Well, anyway,
What
let's
happened?
not get too far away for the people in the back. Let's not get too far away. Because we know, like me, I get with you. I want you to tune in next week, because this show is gonna be.
Oh, for sure. I'm so glad I found this stream. I was trying to find the real you, and I had to wait.
I know, right? It's
had
a
to
mess.
wait, honey.
TikTok is on some BS. I think
Honey.
they're the ones doing it. With the clone pages.
Yeah, absolutely,
I
because you're
think
giving
they're the
out
ones.
truth. When you're giving out truth, they're trying to flood it.
And then they block
know
me
how it
on
is.
all kind of shit. Anyway, they do.
Lord,
So
have mercy.
what I was saying
Well, I'm
is,
glad I found you.
yeah, it's bad. So follow me on YouTube. That's probably the best way to
For sure.
find
For
me.
sure.
So all this to say is this: because I'm going somewhere with this fog and this mist thing.
Right.
We're at the end game or whatever this is, right?
Correct.
And many of us are getting our ancient memories back. And many of those DNA strands, the DEA, DNA, the neuromelanin, all of this stuff that was kept from us is coming back. And we're beginning to remember. And when women especially begin to remember and her connection to this planet, things shift in a major way, right?
Absolutely.
So our consciousness has a lot to do with planetary awakening, especially with Black women. Now, people want us, I don't care if anyone in this chat room feels when I say about Black women makes you feel insignificant or whatever. That's a hang up that you're gonna have to deal with, because it's really not about that. The reason why I'm focusing on Black women the most is because we've been under the spell the hardest. All right.
The worst.
The worst. Beaten down. I mean, everywhere. If you from the top of the totem pole down to everyone has this thing against us.
We had to be stripped of power. We had to be stripped of power. They stripped us of power.
So, karma is no one can really strip you unless you violate something, right? There's something we
That's the
haven't gotten
thing.
to our truths, right? This is what I'm getting to, is this awakening that's taking place on the planet. And
Yes.
a lot of Black women we're cleaving to a religion or religious doctrine out of fear and what was conditioned to us. And it's delaying a lot of the awakening, because until she knows who she is, because you have to ask yourself, why is the world so focused on keeping you so subservient, so at the bottom of the pole? Always you in servitude to everyone and everybody on this planet but yourself.
But yourself.
Everybody. You even leave the country, you go everywhere else. The treatment of Black women, right? She's attacked and hunted like it's ridiculous. Even you go to Africa, they was doing, sisters was going missing over there and all kind of stuff. It's this thing, right? And many is not talked about. And then they'll say, oh, you the least protected and you ain't got no man, whoa, 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 all this kind of shit, right? All of this foolishness that's bombarding her to keep her on her knees and on her back. Okay. And until she is, and so this is the thing. She has a direct link to this planet, the mitochondrial DNA. She connects to this planet like no other being, but at the same time, she's the most severed from the planet.
And the most severed from God.
She's her own God. So like this.
Well,
is
that's what I mean. What I mean is the God within herself.
Yeah, exactly. So,
God within herself. I don't believe in the God outside of herself.
So where I'm going with this is, by her awakening is causing earth changes. And there are a lot of women, especially Black women, awakening. So whenever this one is running, that is in her house, unlocking doors, right? Because that when you start to realize that she held a seat at the Vatican before the Romans came there, right? It was that's her fucking house. So that's a
if you look at Isis, she is the seat of power. Yeah, Isis is the seat of power. Heaven sat on her lap.
Exactly, right, and it's this. Oh, that story reverberates throughout all the different cultures, right? That's just one. That's just basically the story is about mother and child, right? Mother and this man,
mother and child
that was born through parthenogenesis. We're just gonna hold that right there. So, that's
girl, because everybody keeps trying to say it ain't true, but it's true.
That's a whole nother topic, but
we ain't even gonna get there. Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to circle back. I'm going all the way down the block just to go across the street. Whatever this is that's happening on the planet is causing a mass awakening even more. But it's being covered through fear, right? Some people think this is man-made. Some people think this is this. Whatever it is, it's a phenomenon that's taking place globally. It's not just happening here, globally. And depending upon where you are, you're going to see different things. Now, there's some things that, how can it be man-made simultaneously all over the planet? Unless all the governments are involved, right? That's a strong possibility, right? All the governments
they all can agree on Antarctica.
Huh?
They can all agree on Antarctica. So they must not be that much in a disagreement. Just saying.
You saying a lot. You saying a lot.
Girl.
You saying a lot. So that's my thing. Somebody said, what about Antarctica? You just got in here. So that's my thing. So this is, I'm throwing all of that out there. So when people come on, like, we can elaborate on some of these things, because I'm thinking this is more than man-made. Personally, I'm really thinking this is the beginning of a cleansing, of a clearing, and I'm just gonna ride this wave and see how far this thing go, because
hopefully we get superpowers.
Well, shit, if we can't wake up to figure out this is, well, you know what? Things are happening because I think people are developing 6, 7, 8 sense already, because people are doing telepathy now. People are doing telekinesis now. They're moving things with their mind. Some of these babies right now, they're doing some amazing
lifting their head.
Things. Not just lifting their head, moving objects. Moving objects with their mind. So So we'll bring on another caller, Mr. Larry Bennett. You've been in the back room. Your mic is on. How you doing? What you got for me today?
I'm doing just fine, but I think all this mess is some outside force fighting against man's polluting and all the chemicals that we're shooting in the air. And I think that's why in the morning when you say it's foggy, then all of a sudden the sky clears up. I think it's fighting against what man is putting in the air, trying to pollute and destroy us.
Well, certain men been trying to destroy us since they got here, and we ain't going nowhere, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
and if you notice, because right now I'm in Guatemala,
Oh, okay.
the
Shout out to
sky is
Guatemala.
clear.
Are you are
The
you
sky is clear
experiencing
every
fog there?
morning.
Are you
No
experiencing
fog at all.
no fog at
It's the
all?
sky is nice and blue with the clouds,
Okay.
different from what I see when I'm back home in California.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm seeing, even in California, the fog that whatever they shoot in the sky is some force that's fighting against that. And it's before it would stay foggy for a long period of time, but now it seems to be clearing up like someone else is fighting what they putting in the sky and clearing it up.
So it is said that
Oh yes.
these galactic wars that they've been fighting above us has now reached the final destination, which is planet Earth.
Yes.
This is the last. This is so. In certain, I guess religious. Not. It's not religious. This is a spiritual, occultish diagram. I think it's called the Kabbalah.
Yeah, the
So on
cabal.
not the cabal. I think it's called the cabal. What is it? The tree of life that they have
Oh,
with the different. This the left side, the right side, and it's shaped this diagram. What is that called? Isn't that called the Kabbalah? Yeah, it's called the Kabbalah. Thank you.
yeah.
Now at the bottom of Kabbalah, they say it's Malkuth, and Malkuth represents Earth. So and then all the planets are a part of the solar system on this diagram called the Kabbalah, which in the top of it, and then we go through these different dimensional planes. Well, it's
Yeah.
said that Earth is kind of on the lowest dimensional plane. So when this war reached Earth, basically the reason why Earth is so significant to this war because of its alignment that it has to the rest of the universe. So it is imperative for the Earth to ascend because it's like an anchor at the bottom of the Kabbalah in a way. So this war that we've been fighting galactically, this is all hypothetically, or allegedly, as they say, have reached this realm. And because this is the last hurrah, this is that. So when they say the Battle of Armageddon and this and that and the other, in a way, they're trying to tell us and prep us that the spiritual war is now manifested into the densest form of the material in the physical realm in which is here on planet Earth. So this is the last dimension where all of this is being played out. So when you were saying that, there's something fighting against it, like there's some man-made coming and there's something trying to clean it up or whatever. This is a very interesting point that you said because it kind of relates to that in a way. What do you think?
I think so. And even when you were talking about the female, going back to parthenogenesis and all that,
Mm-hmm.
in my belief, and it's always been that I think is the woman is the closest thing to God, and basically I believe she is God,
I say
and I
so.
think that she created everything,
You better say it
and
again, honey. Yes, she
I think
did.
she created everything, and at one time she was the only person on the planet,
You
the
better.
black woman. And I think the black man came along through a defect where the female hormone projected out, and that's what caused the male to come along with the penis.
You
And
know
for
what?
and I think something happened along the way where the woman may have been punished, and that's why man and women. I
I believe
honestly believe that.
that's a good. That was very good. What you did just said. Either she was punished or she was invaded. There was an invasion that came here. There's something that came here
Yeah, I
that
believe
changed the
the
genetic
invasion
codes
also.
of her that capped her off, that removed her memory, There was glands that she had that allowed her to reproduce herself.
Yes.
No, that was very interesting that you said that.
And
And
she was the Amazon that we studied. When the term Amazon, it was actually the woman that was on the planet first, and she was an Amazon. And I think during that invasion is when that thing came out where they started talking about Amazons, but then they just put a white face to try to say the
oh well,
white
yeah,
woman
yeah,
was
they always
Amazon.
gonna do
So,
that because I tell you, we
but
under a
I think
spell.
it
We
was
in a
when they came.
yes,
I
sir.
think it's when they came and invaded the black woman, and all that change happened after that.
Yeah, exactly. The story of the Amazon. So according to I refer Mama Zoe a lot. This woman changed my life with the information that she bought. Basically, she was saying that the Amazons were the militia, the female militia that fought
Yeah.
for the for the Great Mother. That was her army, right? And I'll tell you, to
Yes.
this
Yes.
day, we need to resurrect. We need to resurrect the Amazons, y'all. We need to resurrect these sisters again because this is the war, right? This is that physical war that's being played out
Yes.
because there's a war for the planet. That's what it is. It's like there's things
Yes.
that want
Yes.
this realm. And a lot of us are trying to get out of here, leave here when it's like, I think well, maybe you should. Like maybe this is not your home. Maybe this is not your planet. Maybe this is not your realm. But this realm was given to her. She came here and seeded it and nurtured it. She was here to cultivate this planet, and then others came here and they saw the resources here and they wanted that, and then others came and started genetically manipulating other beings and creating this and that and the other, and went against some codes. There was certain codes, I believe, that was left in place that was breached. There was contracts that was made that was breached, and now earth has turned into a zoo and all kind of shit
Yeah.
is up in here
Yes.
creating that. And so
And
when
I
the
think
sister
that's
said they
why.
locked us under this firmament, is because there were things that were going on that probably went against the laws that were put in place. And so now this is where we are until that certain moment of time when things are released. And I think we're pretty much at that time now.
But I think the black woman is that key to get us out of that
Well, she better go
and
get
back
her
on
keys
track.
back.
And back on track, and that's why the white man fears and hates the black women more than he hate any the black male, white women, or any other people on the planet. I think that's why black women have it harder than anybody because they know that they're the key to get all this stuff back on track.
I would say patriarchal men know that she's the key. Men who push patriarchal agendas like through their religious beliefs. Okay, all of them, not just Christianity, Islam, uh, Judaism, whichever one that has all of these male deities and put her beneath them. These are the ones that hate her the most.
Yes,
These are the
yes,
ones that
yes.
want to keep her enslaved the most. These are the ones that want to subdue her the most. So that, and because you can get men in every color and they will huddle up together to subdue her. They will huddle up together and gain grape her. So I don't think I think it's a mindset of a male, a certain kind of male. The son, I call them the sons of Enlil, right? These are the sons of Enlil who hate her and who wants to subdue her. Because if you think that if they believe in the Anunnaki story and they came here and they genetically manipulated, they needed to leave certain representatives here. This is why you got these different prototypes of types of women and different prototypes of men as well. Because you got women that hate women just as much as men, certain men hate women. And you got women that will uphold patriarchy harder than any man probably, right? So it's like this is a bloodline. This is a archetype. This is a certain prototype of being that's on here. And so and being controlled through these organized religions or the how can I say conditioned, mentally conditioned through these religions. So and once she breaks that, shout out to my sister Seek Wisdom. I want to really tap into this when she was talking about the different daughters the daughters of Adam, the daughters of Lilith, and the daughters of I forgot the third one. She's Eve, and that blew my mind because it was like, well, this makes sense. This makes sense of the different type of beings that's here, the different blood types of beings. They say it's a bloodline. I'm thinking it's more of a blood type of war that's being played out on the physical realm. So all this to say, whatever's going on now is to unleash and unlock all that's been hidden. So whatever stops that the powers that be are pulling, all it's going to do is propel us further into the unknown or the unraveling of the truth that was hidden.
Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly.
I say,
But
go
I've
ahead.
always said the black woman is the key.
You best
She's
believe
God.
it. I agree with that,
I
sir.
honestly
I say
believe
yo. I
she's
say yo.
she's God. I grew up with three sisters, and just being around them, I could feel it.
I know
I
that's
could
right.
feel that spirit,
Yeah, I'm
and
so
they were all
I understand. Yeah. So most the majority, a lot of black women are very matriarchal, right? We're not submissive
yeah,
women, right? We were taught or beaten into submission. We don't have a submissive type of energy. We have a very dominant big mama kind of energy,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And
That's my
most
three
black women in
sisters.
the house, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and if you were raised by, so my grandmother had 7 children and 6 of them were girls. So, and she had one boy. So, and she was matriarchal, and her sisters and her mother was matriarchal. So, it's a line, a certain, we got this, it's a natural, this is just who we are, right? And when we try to
Yes, yeah,
be something other than that, that's when all the sickness and diseases and the trauma and the psychosis happens in our family because we're acting against our true nature. So,
yes.
you know,
And I noticed that my three sisters,
mm,
they're all three single. Two, I don't think any of them. Well, one only the oldest one is the only one that's ever been married because they don't. I mean, they're strong, and
it take a lot, honey. Yeah, it take a lot to
I
be
don't
with that.
think that any man could deal with them, and they were not going to bow down to any man.
Right.
And that's the thing that I taken with me, and it made me the person that I am today.
Okay.
Just being around them and watching them, because I admire strong black women.
I mean,
And I have a lot of
the
respect.
slogan that we have like that is definitely, it's for a reason. It's just who we are as women in this realm. I'm trying to get y'all on here. Be patient with me. This button is acting really weird. I click on it and it takes a while to open to add in another guest. But thank you, Larry. I appreciate you for jumping
I
on here and
appreciate you. I've
sharing your
watched
energy.
you quite a bit,
Oh, thank
and
you.
I love you to
Oh,
death.
thank you, sir. I appreciate
All
that.
right,
Yes,
just
sir.
keep on what you're doing,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll be out here watching and following.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Larry. Well, you
All
found me
right,
my real channel. Make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube just in case they remove this platform. You'll continue
all
to
right.
get more of the content. Okay, dear?
Okay, love you.
I love you too, Donald. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye now. Yeah, yes, yes, indeed, y'all. Please mute your microphone when you come in. Mute your microphone before you come on in. So, there's a lot that's about to be uncovered. There's a lot we're about to see as we continue to move further and further on. So, besides the numbers and things that they give, start watching the movements of the planets, right? If you can start seeing, it seems like they're getting closer and closer. If you watch them long enough, they look like they moving and they dancing up there. Learn about it because that's the real clock. That's the real cosmic clock of the universe. So and you'll be able to feel the energy. Please mute your microphone when you come into the room. Please mute your microphone. You'll be able to feel that energy. Start understanding because that's the real clock that we used to go by. It's the reason why they demonize astrology. Interesting how it's legal or it's even a business in astronomy, but you just move a word or two, a letter or two around and add astrology and that's of the devil. Let you know that there's something powerful about studying the movement of these planetary energies and the effect that it has on human behavior. All right. So, Miss Jazzy, please unmute your microphone, sister. You are live and on the air. Thank you for your patience and holding on for a minute. So, how you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm so honored to be selected to actually have a conversation with you in real life. I feel your energy. I
Come
feel it's
on
the
in here.
truth.
Come on
I
now.
am a studier of theology. I'm a high priestess, and my main focus was I've been called by the divine feminine. And every time that I had ever tried to say, maybe I'm wrong and go back to, worshiping the male gods, the most high, the source is what I call it. She gives me visions. She shows me all these other things that as I study and study, I start to see them in the books. And I realize that it is really her. And so I wanted to speak on what y'all were talking about with what we're going through.
Yes.
So first of all, I want to talk on parthenogenesis.
Come
and
on.
I know that woman created man and man created God in his image, because the reality is we are the image of God, and XX came first.
Yes, she did.
And XY is a genetic mutation. And if you look at other species on this planet, some of them create XY of their own to help out with whatever they need. And when that XY or male species begins to use up any of the resources, they just eat him. And if you look at any of the longest running species on this planet that have been here forever, they are parthenogenetic female creatures. And I do believe that this war on women and why we're in such suffrage has everything to do with our connection to the source, the real, true, most high God. See, they have this, and I love to study science along with religion to prove my point. And what I found is, because I was always on this debate where they're like, you need the balance of masculine and positive energy. But I was like, still, something must have come first. So I dug deeper and deeper. Because, the male is the electric pulse, the positive, right? And the female is the magnetic.
Right.
Well, then I come to find out that magnetic energy actually is what creates electric energy. So we know for sure that it is a she, and it is in the Pinsta Sophia and all of the holy ancient scriptures that I've studied.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
first emanation of God was indeed feminine. And if you look in the Amuna Leash, the creator God who created herself, nothing created her, Tiamat, she was attacked by her grandchildren because they were creating chaos, the Anunnaki. And her husband, Abzu, who she had created, said, you know what? They're complaining all over the universe. These children are running amok. We have to get away. We have to do away with them. But, the nature of a woman is truly the all merciful and all loving. A woman's child could be an absolute monster, and she'll still be in their corner loving them,
baby.
right?
Right. That's her
Right.
baby.
A masculine God is quick to say, get rid of him.
Get rid of his ass.
A woman,
he got to go.
Yeah, a woman will say, no, that's my baby. We're gonna figure this out, right? So what happened in the book of the Amuna Leash is what the Anunnaki did when they found out that Abzu was going to attack them. They attacked him. And now that's when Tiamat said, okay, you've gone too far. So when they knew, because you see, the divine feminine is spirit. And when she created the masculine, she created the material form of male. This is where the Y chromosome comes in, and why we're mixed with, a lot of Y chromosome, because we're in the physical. We're no longer in the spirit. And that has to do with speed. When things slow down, they become more condensed. And, so the physical male, her spouse was attacked by, and so the Anunnaki went to the god An and said, Father, we are in peril. We are going to die. And the god An said, who dare attack the sons of God? And they said to the god An, it's not a man. And as soon as they said that, he knew exactly how it was. So he had to have all of these creations and all it put together to try to attack Tiamat. And so she created the dragon. The dragon that they're talking about in Revelations, I believe that is her dragon that is coming back. And of course, through the Yahwehists, and if you know about Ashara, the Hebrews previous to the Yahwehists taking over, they worshipped Ashara. And it says it several times in the holy scriptures of the Torah, where they said, man, before we were following your Yahweh, we were living good, we were peaceful, we were fed, now we're starving, we're hungry. So what they did women were so powerful, we didn't need muscles. See, if you were to attack a woman in those times, she didn't physically attack you. She went to prayer. And you would be gone by the next day. Like, you were cursed. If a woman cursed you, it was over for you, because her spiritual power and telekinesis and all of that stuff was so much more greater than the muscle. So what they did then, and this is why they keep talking about Jezebel, and any woman that's holy, they of course label her a prostitute, all of these things, you know, to shame her, to defame her.
Right. They
absolutely. But she was Jezebel was a married woman. And she was housing the daughters and the high priestesses of Ashara. So when Elijah was called to go against Ashara, he was in so much fear that he had chose that he would maybe rather to unalive himself. But so Yahweh pushed forth.
What story are you getting this from? What is this coming from?
So now that's from the Torah and the Bible. I don't have the verses memorized, but they're absolutely, you could look them up.
I just wanted the source that you could just, because I didn't know if it was the
Torah.
The Torah. The Torah. Oh.
Or the Amun Alish for Tiamat. And then Ashara is now, when you follow Ashara, which is going to track back to Isis, Sanat, Ashrat, you know, all of these is all representatives of the divine feminine, who was a war goddess. She was extremely powerful. And even at one time, you know, with, I think it was Anat, her father was the god An, and she went and checked him and was like, you're going to do this or else. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And that tells you how powerful the divine feminine was. That even the higher gods that we now consider Allah and Yahweh, those gods were afraid of her. So how they controlled the woman and why we're being beaten is this. So what they did is they of course unalived all the women that worshipped and refused to bow down. And they oppressed them by labeling and demonizing her spiritual power by calling it witchcraft. And it's a proven fact that the most painful way to unalive is via fire. The only other more painful thing in life is to give birth. Wow. So you know that we were cursed in the physical, right? So if you deem the feminine the most tender, smaller, weaker vessel, why then would you choose the most vicious way to punish her, right? With men, they would just, you know, chop off his head. But with women, they said, no, we need to let it be known. Yeah. So for thousands of years, anytime a woman remembered who she was, if the spirit reached out and said, hey, you got powers. We're going to use Joan of Arc as a perfect example. You're going to, you know, they use her for whatever they need, and then they unalive her and burn her. So this made women now have Stockholm syndrome. This is why these women choose to be submissive, and they're looking for a man to lead them. Why do you need a man to lead you? Are you a dog, or are you blind? Is there something you can't do for yourself?
There's so many layers.
Yes.
So you know, when you
so many layers.
The layers of abuse, the layers of conditioning. I'm surprised we still alive on this planet right here. I'm surprised that
you can't kill the spirit, baby. And she's coming back. And she will, I feel that she will humble. That's why all these men are turning feminine. Because I believe she's doing her work. She's healed. Because that's another thing about the female genetics. They're healers. It's a science thing. They show that if women choose to separate from men and choose to be alone, they become happier and healthier. And when they surround themselves with more women, they build up a chemical in themselves where they become happier and they produce healing hormones and they self-heal. So I believe, you know, all of that come from the goddess, and she's self-healed and strengthened herself. And I believe that's why all of these males are becoming feminized. I think that because the matriarchy is about to step in and step on the patriarchy, and that she's calling her daughters back. And she's telling us, hey, don't be afraid. I'm going to give you power. And when I tell you use it. Because we're going to war. And they have these two gods, you know, fighting against each other. Allah, Yahweh, they worship the same God. But you see, their God is a trickster. You know, that's what they do. So they're caught up fighting back and forth about which God is the right God when it's both the same God. And they're killing everybody, unaliving everybody who won't bow down. And the whole time they've taken their focus off of us because they thought they smothered out what we'll call the witch spirit, which is really just the divine feminine power. And the whole time, those of us sitting at the side, practicing in secret, keeping our mouths, you know, quiet, are really strengthening and developing. And I believe that dragon that they're talking about, of course, in their book, the dragon's going to lose. Why would they put a book that says the dragon's going to win? You know? In their book, the dragon will lose, but I don't think so. I think that is the divine mother and her dragon that she created, the Leviathan, coming to wage war.
It's so funny. I was just about to mention that Leviathan, because that's in the story with the whole story with the Anunnaki, and with Tiamat, the whole thing, and it's. So I was talking to a sister earlier today, and it's kind of like leaning towards that type of information, like all the things that they demonize is actually where our power is. So when you hear all the stories of these patriarchal religions talk about Leviathan and the dragons and Tiamat and all of this, that these were demons, and this and Ashtaroth and all of these divine goddesses that walked on this planet, and we're their daughters, right? And so there's a reason why these religions and Lilith and all the whole thing demonize these particular energies. And since we have been bowing down to other deities, not tapping into these primordial goddesses and the energies that was here, we have been underneath this system. And so I find it real interesting. So what is your take on what's going on with this fog, and how is it connected, and what's going on with the Pope is unlocking? What do you think?
So I do absolutely believe that fog is it is a generated electromagnetic powder that they pushed into the sky that people are breathing in. I had read something about it and I forget the real name of it, but there is actually a scientific powder that has been created. It's full of nanoparticles, same as these schmactionations. I don't know if we're allowed to say the words. I've been kicked off for words.
Just call them Jabberwockies.
Jabberwock. Yeah. They're full of what we want to call nanoparticles. So when they activate this grid, I believe that there is going to be a power grid shutdown. I believe that there is going to be a mass. If you read in the scriptures when it says, that God took away all of the people in the rapture, but it talk about the rapture. The word is actually taken.
Right.
And
so
if you read that
actually
in the
there's no rapture. I don't think that's kind of made up through Christian, there's no verse in there that talks about that, though.
I believe it really means unalived. I believe it means that a lot of these people that followed and drank the Kool-Aid, you know what I mean, and followed the path with the Orange Messiah, who is, by the way, I'm quite sure the second Messiah.
Orange Messiah. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, you look at he's got a mark. If you look it up, I forget what it's called, but it's a trademark. He's the only president that has one, right? They put him on the coin. They've deemed him. They've given him a crown. He was there at the signing for the peace treaty 4.5 years ago, which makes up with the time. Now, I mean, I'm not no prophet, but I am a high priestess. I study.
No, go ahead, talk that talk. Let's
and I do believe it's either him. It's either way. It's on its way in. He's either because I believe they're a multi-headed snake. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I believe it's him, Elon, Jared, and there's another one in Israel, Yahshua ben David, who even has the name pretty much of Jesus. And I wanted to speak on this for parthenogenesis before I forget.
Go ahead.
Jesus was parthenogenetic. Jesus's mother was parthenogenetic. Jesus' grandmother was parthenogenetic. This was in the Jewish texts. So what really happened, because if you actually read like the old, if you can get your hands on some ancient stuff about Jesus, they describe him as wearing female garments, like the bra. I forget what it was called, right? And then the statues, he had breasts, right? So I believe the real reason that they unalived Jesus was because Jesus was parthenogenetic and therefore capable of carrying on the generations without the Y chromosome.
Jesus was a woman.
Or maybe even hermaphroditic. But nonetheless, he gave all of his information to Mary Magdalene. You can read that in the Gnostic Gospels. And you can read more about it in the Prince of Sophia as well. But in the Gnostic Gospels, he gave the information to Mary. If women were supposed to lead, why he gave it to me?
Exactly. So this is now dig this, right? So I came across a document many moons ago, back in the late 90s, about something similar to what you're talking about. And
Yes.
it was saying something to the term of wherever you see the name Mary, it connects to the great
Yep.
mother, right? And if you
Yes.
notice
They're
that
all wearing blue veils.
I don't know about all of that. It's just the name Mary, and she connects to the great mother. And if you notice in all of these stories where there's these either someone of prominence, there's always a variation of a woman next to them named Mary. Let's
Yep.
start with Moses.
Yep.
Miriam was there always,
Yep.
right? And then you can go on to Jesus. Now before Jesus, right? The name Jesus didn't exist until there was no J in this alphabet, right? So
His real name was Isa.
now, which can be a variation of Isis. So
Yes.
all of this to say,
Yes.
and if this, I don't think hermaphrodites, I can't pronounce it today.
Or asexual.
Asexuals are parthenogenic. I don't know. I think that was an XX. Hermaphrodites are XXYs, I think. So who knows? Who I wasn't there.
Right.
I can't tell. I will not. I'm
Something
not
we got to
sure.
study more.
But right.
Yeah.
But if these were women all the time, the whole thing, and it would make sense. So if you're saying, the attributes that you're saying, Jesus had breasts and this and that and the other, then he told Mary, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, what if it was Mary the whole damn time, right? And this is
I thought about
story
that.
They're making up just to, to bring forth their patriarchal laws and gods. Hold on, TikTok is making me do something here. I gotta change this setting.
Can I say this? In the book of Leviticus, the sacrifice for sin was an unblemished female lamb. So why would the sacrifice in Christianity be a male at all? That's contrary to scripture.
So, well, I mean, sometimes things are hidden in plain sight, right? It's just that the conditioning that everyone knows, or was taught, the things that was placed on us was given us in a twisted version. So these are the, and this is what we're all unveiling, because when I found out that it was Sibyls that actually ran the Vatican before the Romans got there, these were women, priestesses, high priestesses, and they didn't even change their clothes all the way. He still wears the dress, and he still wears they'll say that the crown that he wears or the headdress that he wears is the fish. This resembles the fish. When it actually it's a term called the omphe, and the omphe represents the womb, and these are ancient symbols that they look like eggs that were all throughout the ancient temples that the women had that represent fertility. So it's real interesting that these things are still in play. They didn't change all of that. And, when he goes down into the catacombs or into the little secret rooms, he's bowing down to Mary and child, right? And it's a melanated woman that he's bowing down to at the same time. So they know, they have manipulated things. They have casted the spell on the majority of the people. They've aligned, they changed the calendars, they got everybody participating in mass rituals according to holidays. So we perpetuate the energy we give. As if we are voluntarily celebrating these things, we're getting in alignment to what they put in place. That gives explanation on why they stay in power. They've been regulating everything, and making you doubt yourself, making you doubt going within, finding God within, making you wear their symbols, making you, bow down, repeat their prayers. I mean, so this is something that's on autopilot at this moment, but everything has an expiration date.
Absolutely. And to answer your question about why it was going to going to Aquarius instead of Pisces, because just like in the Hebrew text, everything goes backwards. So remember, the reason that they were sacrificing the ram with Noah, and then we moved on. Before Noah, it was Baal, the bull, which is where the word the Lord comes from, and the Alf, all of that, yes. And then so it was Baal, then it was Ra, which is represented by the ram, and then it was Jesus that is represented by the fish. And so now we're into Aquarius. And one more thing, I do got to go before I leave, but I want to tell you that the divine feminine, remember in the story of Noah, who saved the ship? It was actually, if you look up Isis, you can either look up Inanna's knot or Isis knot. But it said that Enlil just wanted to kill everybody. And again, the mother goddess stepped in and said, this is my bloodline. And she tied, and I wear Inanna knots in my hair because of it. My hair is knotted. People think it's dreads, but it's just growing knots and tying them. They're Inanna knots to represent her. But she actually was the one who cast and saved Noah's Ark.
Interesting.
Yeah. In the old scriptures,
the name wasn't. Boy, I want you to subscribe to me on YouTube, because I'm gonna be going on live there next Friday night, and I want to bring you on as a guest. So,
I love that.
Make sure you are subscribed to me on there, and I'm gonna. Matter of fact, email me at info@sacredtea.net. And let me know that you were the caller, because I'm going to send you a link, an invitation, because I would like to
absolutely
bring you on.
info@sacredtea.net.
Yes, ma'am.
I got you, babe. I'm about to go to work. I am so honored for you to call me up and talk to me, and I can spread knowledge with my sisters and put pieces of the puzzle together so we can overcome. I love y'all and be blessed.
Love you too, sister. Thank you for joining me today. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashe. Yeah, listen, this is how we get down over here, okay? There's two sisters on the line. You have anything you want to contribute before I move on to the next callers? Because this, I didn't know we was going.
All I can say is that Jazzy was correct. Everything that Jazzy just said was correct. Everything she studied, I studied. She was absolutely correct.
Yes, she was.
I couldn't stop agreeing with her. But thank you, Mama. Thank you so much. I had a great time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate that. What's up, Queen?
Yeah, same. Yes, same. I agree. She's very knowledgeable, and I love her approach and her delivery. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. And I appreciate it. It's definitely an honor being able to come up here and speak with you all, the lovely ladies, everyone who had information to share. This is what we do. This is how you're supposed to do it. We build, you know, and just, so just keep adding on.
Indeed,
yes, ma'am.
Indeed. Thank you. Thank you all. I want folks to know that this is that kind of place, right? This is the space to have these conversations, because they need to be had. A lot of women are coming into their own divine memories, and it's hard for them to find people to talk to about these things without being ridiculed or told that they're crazy, judged in any kind of way. And I think it's important for them to have a safe space, a platform, because what you're doing when you're sharing this, you're causing DNA explosions to others who are listening and resonating on this frequency that they know that they've been thinking this thing the whole time. They didn't know anyone else thought this way. They didn't even know that there were books out there that they can actually read and get this information. They didn't know that they were decoding these things in a way that the spirit was showing them how to decode it, and they were actually on point with it. It's resonating with people that are coming forth and sharing this information. Oh, that was some good ass tea. Let us know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, baby. Make sure you try some of MahMah Tea's wellness blends today. If you would like to be a guest on the Stella Maris Podcast, please contact me at info@sacredtea.net.